Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about Perfect Blue. A friend of mine knows how much I like anime and that I make videos about them, so they begged me to do Perfect Blue. They had mentioned it for years, but I hadn't gotten around to watching it. My reaction was, isn't that the psychological thriller? What would you like me to bring up? They thought it over and they said they wanted to know what I had made of the show, how I thought the story was being told. My instant thought was, oh gosh, if people are still at odds over the story, I don't know what I can do. But I decided to give it a shot anyway. I popped in Perfect Blue and started to take notes while I watched. There were early impressions of scenes, things that I thought were important, and certain scenes that would be hinting at other things possibly in the future. 3/4 of the way through the show, I thought I had nailed down the story, that I had gotten everything. But then the ending happened. I started putting lines through my words and thought, no, this isn't it. I decided to watch the movie a few minutes after the initial viewing and then a few days later. This time I knew what the ending had in store and I knew exactly what I wanted to look for. Based on what I saw, this is how the story makes sense to me. The very first scene lets us know who is and isn't real. This is highlighted by showing the Rangers in the beginning. Here the groundwork is laid down. We see that Mima, her duo, Rumi, her producer, and her stalker are all real. We see these people conversing and interacting with others. Mima is at a point in her career where she wants to stop being a pop idol and move into acting. In the process of finding out who she is, we get a greater glimpse of who the idol is versus who she is at home, even though she starts losing track of which one is which. Along Mima's journey, we see that she has a violent stalker. He is someone who is constantly around her. He hits his breaking point when she moves further away from the pop idol persona. He is delusional about who she really is. While the stalker is suffering from his delusion and Mima is losing herself, we start to see that Rumi is suffering from dissociative identity disorder. One of Rumi's new personalities takes over and it believes that it's the real idol Mima. Idol Mima seems to come out when her idol persona is being tarnished. She is actively trying to preserve herself. We start to see moments where this creeps into shots. Rumi finishes stating that Mima has nothing to worry about, yet she's the one biting her nails. With the rape scene, she is visibly upset, cries, and then leaves. There are several scenes where the viewer can find themselves asking, where is Rumi? Her lack of presence in certain scenes speaks volumes. Rumi even finds the time to take over Mima's fan page. There is information on that page that only someone close to Mima would know. There are also candid shots of her. Rumi could be the person to make that happen. We also know that Rumi was contacting the stalker because he mentions that she contacts him every day. In the end, she also makes note that the stalker let her down when she asked for a favor. That favor obviously being her death. The glowing idol Mima seems to be the real presence of Rumi, whereas faded sightings of the idol may just be lingering thoughts or things said by Rumi. We see this as being most plausible when she goes through the door and jumps onto stage. The duo beside her look visibly disturbed. There is no way that the real Mima was on that stage. This idea can be solidified if we think of what just happened moments earlier. We know for sure that Rumi was with the two girls while Mima was at a photo shoot somewhere else. Right before the girls hit the stage, they talk about Mima's tarnishing image, a comment overheard by Rumi. Moments later, the idol Mima hops onto stage, and that is no coincidence. It can also be believed that Rumi had done all the killings in the show. Her weapon of choice was an ice pick, while the stalker's was a knife. She gouges out the eyes of the men she kills. This could be a way for her to punish people who looked at Mima inappropriately or had evil deeds in mind. If we also listen closely to the news reports, we hear that a large amount of the body is damaged in the process of the killings. This is, in real life, known as overkill. This commonly happens when someone is connected to other people on an emotional level. We see in several scenes just how invested Rumi is in Mima's life. Another thing to note is that Mima wouldn't be mistaken for a boy. When the photographer receives his pizza, he makes that comment. Rumi would be more likely to be mistaken for a boy than Mima. Rumi is also stronger than Mima. If we look at individual frames, the pizza carrier even looks like Rumi. I think the part that is most confusing for audiences are the moments when Mima wakes up. I think most wouldn't notice that Mima sometimes doesn't wake up in her room, and other times she does. It can also be assumed based on certain dreams that the Mima that Rumi thinks she is wakes up as well. My best advice is to always watch the fish tank, the computer, the curtains, and the TV, and you'll get what I mean. This film works on the premise that Mima is having a mental breakdown while Rumi is suffering from dissociative identity disorder, all while life is happening. The movie has a way of showing that sometimes reality and fantasy are hard to separate and therefore become fluid. We even see this as a viewer, as we ourselves are having a hard time picking apart what is real and isn't in this movie. Well, those are my thoughts. You can let me know if you agreed or disagreed with what I had to say. Maybe we're out in left field still. But until next time, I'll see you later.